Alright, sorry. Electronics seems like a pretty favorable map for now. Yeah, carbon is really expensive, but this found is a little bit strange. Then again, you can found into silicon, just sell down the silicon, build a three tiles and roll with three carbon tiles. There are no claims in the market though. That should be an argument against that, maybe. There's no good scientist spot in spite of this in spite of this awesomeness. The power robot is a little bit iffy. Expansive is really promising, I think. Uh, Carbon is maybe a little weak as a starting play. This is not an expansive I expected, but it might just work out. 2D back is doing a more reasonable expansive, which should work out. Penguin is... where is he? Oh, he's over there. He's also doing a sort of sane found. It's interesting that he is ignoring iron, because I'm not sure how viable that is. Andreas is going for... yeah, also for a basic found. It's got good territory, like this patch is essentially what both of those players wanted to have access to in the long run, that water, and you're just taking it away from them, and you're building the steel mills over the good water, so eventually you will probably transition them, but you have already denied those good tiles to everybody else. Interestingly enough, oh, that was trapping. Yeah, so Andreas is going to have a bit of a problem because he's pretty far behind. It took him a while to choose his found, and he's late to selling down these resources, he's late to producing the resources. Penguin is... I feel like he's madly... oh, those are iron tiles, okay. That changes things. Yeah, Penguin is going to have a very basic and very sane found. Jim Bob is still doing crazy things. I will expect Jim Bob to transition into silicon, but he found it with some debt, so it's going to be power. So it's going to be a little bit tricky. He's super well set up for electronics. This might actually be the one time that we're going to see early electronics being produced. Town Hero Penguin, Dread Penguin. Yeah, a lot of people seem to have a lot of support. The 2D back fan team somehow left us for some reason. One thing I didn't pay attention to is that the nukes are on the market, and I feel like nukes are going to be a big deal. A nuke on this medium iron is going to cripple Trad Penguin. A nuke on this iron is going to cripple Andreas. It's a very strong early attack that can happen. By the way, this I did not pay attention to. This is amazing. People are going super heavy into steel for some reason. Jim Bob did make the push into power, but he already has 20k and he's making steel. It's going to take a while to pay that off, and life support is finally getting to a point when it's really dangerous. Yeah, here comes the big attack on Trad Penguin. He invests into this iron because he finally reached the point when... what am I trying to say? He finally reached the upgrade, and at this point Andreas is the only one behind. He has a bit of an edge with his territory, I think, over the other people, in that he's the one who has good water, but he might just be far enough behind that it's going to be a bit tricky for him to get back. This class is good. It only shows 10 for some reason. Actually not sure why is it showing such poor... one of them must not have been finished. Yeah, 42. Jim Bob is going heavy into power, which makes sense. He did a bit of a long-termer, that's a word, play with investing into power early, but now he has repaid his debt, and now he's going to make a lot of money. 2D Bag has a pair of geothermals, but those are going to take a while to start paying his debt. Penguin has winter binds. They're pretty weak, but they're very flexible. It's going to cover his costs, though. It's not really going to make him a lot of money. Andreas, at this point, doesn't really have that much debt, and if Jim Bob can crash the power market quickly, Andreas shouldn't care, and this farm move is actually a brilliant move, which might just mean that he's going to get back into the game. 2D back is going to spend a lot of power on this Pleasure Dome, but this is an amazing Pleasure Dome. He identified the fact that there are 4 expensive players in this game. That's going to make insane profits for a Pleasure Dome. Like already it shows 211, and people are just on HQ level 3. They haven't even reached HQ level 5, not to mention the colony growing. At this point, Jim Bob is committed, and there are power surges. He is unprotected, but he should make that money. And look at the price of that. He should be able to push for an upgrade before everybody else, I think. And once he does, he needs to commit to hardcore life support. Yeah, get these 2 tiles into put these 2 tiles into water and just go for 3 food 2 reactor. Or 2 food 3 reactor is probably a little bit better because food is being made. And yeah, he was not. He got beaten to that, but he's making so much power. He's overcommitting to power, I want to say, at this point. Andreas got a little bit of power down. Didn't really hurt him, didn't really benefit him that much. He did very well to secure a whole bunch of steel while no one is making steel. He's not making steel, and Jim Bob isn't. So he's pretty good on that front. He should move into steel after this. I would say that after the dust storm, let's Strat Penguin repay a bunch of his debt. I want to see 2 steel mills, maybe 3 steel mills right here for him. And where's he making? Oh, there she is. Like 3 steel mills over here, 3 reactors over there, and then 1 more claim for advanced buildings. This is a big deal, by the way. He paid 28k for it. Jim Bob did. Which is a very strange thing to do. It's an excellent thing, but you are making power money. Now you're kind of stuck. At this point, you have to turn these. I'm showing with my finger for some reason. These 3 solar panels into reactors, really, and these 2 into food or something. Just do something. You can't keep sitting on what you have. You need to do a transition, and the transition is expensive. Honestly, maybe these 2 need to be turned into steel. 2D bag is just plowing through, making steel when everyone stopped, and just having a good time, I think. As this penguin, they're going to have a bit of a problem. Like they had a bunch of their debts covered by power, but at this point, life support is going to just bite them pretty heavily. This Pleasure Dome is being excellent still. Absolutely amazing. Virtual reality is going to be a big deal. I really like how it's getting set up for 2D back. He's getting a lot of those high-value buildings down. Jim Bob has... Yeah, he has this thing, which is... It's going to be good, but it's going to be good. At this point, you're a little bit far behind. Like, you're 2 HQ levels behind 2 other players, and you're expensive. And they're expensive. Andreas is pretty well set up, but still a little bit behind, I feel. This is a very strong play, I fully agree with it, because for some reason the map is just a little bit odd, and the prices are high as a result. But in the long run, I will mention, though, that the prices are going to crash, and it's all about the off-road market, which is bad. It's actually pretty terrible. Finally, oh no, that's Penguin losing his Pleasure Dome. The colony isn't growing in quite the way that should benefit this Pleasure Dome, but eventually it might get there. And at this point I'm just super worried for Jim Bob. He had a big advantage, and then he kind of ruined it with this purchase of... it's not even as much that was purchased, it's more of a thing that he just never made the transition in time. And he's really far behind now. Like, he's sitting on 4 iron per second. And he's not making use of that iron. These are just costing him money for... it's costing costing him cash actually from fuel. 2D back is having a big edge with the Pleasure Dome. Long term, for now, it's not showing how amazing it is yet. He's not that far ahead yet, but he's going to get there. Trap Penguin is definitely liking this dust storm coming to visit again. Should repay a bunch of his debt, which is pretty crazy at this point. Yeah, you can see 4 Expansive are just having crazy production, making tons of money. And the nukes have not been flying very efficiently, so they just have a ton of stuff, every single one of them. If you look at the patterns, perpetual motion is coming down, virtually at carbon scrubbing. Oh, excuse me. Carbon scrubbing is strong. I would have maybe preferred thinking machines in the long term. I would have liked nanotech. I would like... Yeah, actually, perpetual motion makes a lot of sense. Thinking machines for Trap Penguin, though, are going to be really good. And these are just very weak winter binds. It's not enough. Unfortunately, it's barely covering the costs. You do need to invest into a bunch more power. Offals are affordable, but they're not good enough yet, and they're easily attackable. However, if you're going to get thinking machines, I would consider moving out of this cam maybe. And I think that at this point, Andreas and Jim Bob are going to have a bit of an edge still. Well, no, that's overreacting. I think you can't really afford 40k as Trap Penguin, as great as this Pleasure Dome is. And it's very important to strike into the profits of 2D back. 40k is just a lot of that.
The black market is online.
It was essentially 40k cash. Hello, Henrud. This is it's not really Civ. It's like an economic RTS. It's like real time. Make a bunch of stuff, buy low, sell high, outproduce your opponents, buy them out. Sorry. Yeah, so it's looking a little bit bad. Actually, it's looking terribly for Jim Bob. He definitely had a big chance, but he kind of didn't react to the situation in time. And at this point, he doesn't have particularly good claims. He's just all over the place, and he's kind of in that. It's not as bad as Penguin, but he doesn't really have anything going for him that would let him back into the game, I feel. 2D back managed to procure an off-world. It's protected for now. It's going to be attacked pretty heavily. There are no goon poppers, so it's going to be a little bit difficult to plow through the 2 possible goons that he's going to have, but it is going to happen. Meanwhile, Trap Penguin has a lot of debt, and he doesn't have as good a territory, I feel like. Definitely not as good as Andreas. Andreas is in D-debt, so it's a little bit crazy, and I'm not really seeing anything. Like, these solar panels are going to repay a whole bunch of debt. But he had this for a while. He managed to get some very useful life support upgrades. On feeders in particular. And also he got nuked a bunch, but he has a lot of water underneath, so he can always make the necessary transitions. You can see he did a very clever goon on the medium tile, so as to not lose that completely. His high tile is not as important. He definitely still has the best water out of all the people. I would point out that if you want to stop 2D back, who by the way has 2 offloads at this point, which is crazy, you want to nuke his water down, just make him unable to produce life support, because life support is the set. Let's look at cams. Cams are actually very interesting. He does have a... He just moved into an optimization center, so he still doesn't have that much of an edge, but the 2 offloads and the crazy Pleasure Dome are really making him bank at this point. Unfortunately, Trap Penguin spent a little bit too much on repaying debt, and then just isn't producing enough. Because he doesn't have the off-worlds and the... Well, he's at this point competing with the Pleasure Dome, but still, he didn't have those in time. He's in D-debt, so he's really cheap. So 2D Bag is making a run on him, and it's going to be a strong sub, but like, every single one of them, even Jim Bob is going to be a strong sub. But I'm really curious as to whether Andreas can make a push here, because he moved into 2 off-world markets. He's a little bit behind, but he has... I would say that he has the best territory out of all the people, because he doesn't have to ship much, so he's making the most out of those reactors. He has very strong life support. He only has a silicon tile, so he didn't commit to the carbon, which frankly no one committed to. But if he can make those off-worlds work, and keep the optimization center running, he's going to be a very strong contender. The problem is, though, that he is still behind, because 2D Back has a lot of cash, and he is about to buy Trap Penguin sometime soon. So the question becomes, can you really do enough with these slowdown strikes to slow 2D Back? Honestly, if I was Andreas, I would consider just buying into him before he can finish the buy on Penguin. Just get that stock that is undefended. Maybe defend yourself, I guess, but since these two offloads come down, you have to start making buys. Although I have a feeling that there should be a purchase of Penguin sometime very soon.
Make room for the profits. The black market is online. New building is available for auction.
Now that's an auction I like to see. So hackery in this game is hilariously good. Hilariously because with 4 expansive you'd expect literally every market covered. But somehow it doesn't work that way, because the camps are unprotected right now. They're very, very strong to hack, and 2D Bag is going to get that. And he can hack electronics very efficiently. He's very committed to the electronic play, which the colony isn't growing quickly enough. And this is what I like to see. So Andreas defended himself, that's fine. And then he went for 2D Bag. And at this point he will try to prove that his territory is better than 2D Bag's, and that the sub is not going to matter enough. Not in time. Yeah, we have a response from El Capitan. He apparently had an important call, and he hadn't realized that he does need to play around 5. And at this point, 2D Bag is in D-debt, which means he cannot buy black market items, although it's easy to repay this debt. He's being a little bit inefficient with the electronics hacks, in that, well, first of all, electronics are covered, but I don't think that Andreas is responding well here. He's just auto-selling, and he's not producing enough to make that unviable. But he just isn't committing all his cash. You need to commit all your cash towards electronics. Yeah, they're looking fairly even. I still think that 2D Bag has a strong advantage. They don't have his... neither of them have the optimization center running, which is wasteful. You really need to optimize as much as you can. Interestingly, that's a natural camp short, I think. Maybe. Well, this one is... That one was, but this one is going to come, and this one's going to be super strong, because, again, everyone concentrates on life support really hard, and that's allowed the... what do you call them? Like, secondary markets, like advanced resource markets, profit resource market, whatever, to really stay high in price, except glass, because everyone cares about glass. Jim Bob only now gets an offer. That's really late, I'm afraid. He can defend himself, and he can hope that. Well, actually, there's nothing for him to hope at this point, because whoever wins the fight between Andreas and 2D-Bag is just bound to die, unfortunately. 2D-Bag needs significantly less to finish a buy on Andreas, but Andreas... well, actually, they're very even in cash, and at this point, Penguin is making 1,000 for 2D-Bag. I just don't think that he can make it. Interesting, there's another hacker race, so he indeed is shorting both resources. And at this point, he almost has enough. Yeah, that's hackery for you. This is the extra edge that he needed to make sure that he has this one secured. And he did it, and I applaud him for it. I definitely like seeing people use the hackery a lot more than they were in the past, which was never. And this is very decent use of the hackery. Like, at this point you need to slow down with the cam production, or with the cam hacks, because the cams are being produced by Jim Bob. But it also doesn't really matter, because you have amazing subsidiaries. Trap Penguin is making 1,500. Andreas shouldn't take long to start making some serious money. These are interesting launches that the AI decided to do. Probably the AI. But yes, at this point we're just waiting for the game to be over. Because I don't believe that Jim Bob has a chance back into this game. He started out so well. He had a slightly more unorthodox opening, and it kind of worked out. And then power should have worked out, but then it kind of didn't work out enough. And then he just didn't make the transitions in time, and he just stalled from then on. It's a little bit sad seeing him do so badly. God, my nose is being awful today. I'm sorry.
Market misinformation.
Yeah, at this point we're just waiting for the game to finish. I definitely think that this is probably the best game of the tournament that I have seen in terms of stock play. Like, every stock decision that happened made perfect sense to me. Like, both 2D-Bag attacking Track Penguin in time, Andreas G trying to get a cut of 2D-Bag. Maybe the only complaint I would have is that Andreas was a little bit slow. Maybe he should have prioritized buying 2D-Bag stock instead of defending himself first. I feel like that could have given him a bit of an edge. I don't know if it was enough of an edge. And 2D-Bag is selling out of himself, I think. Yes, that's the correct play to finish it faster. And that will be the final round of the tournament.